appears to have pointed ears off the side of its head, and these nostrils are kind of up like a bat's nostrils, or like a dog man or a cat, some kind of cat or a dog. Man, this could be a dog man right here. I mean, look at this. You can even see the canine sticking out of his mouth. This is the upper lip. You can see the split. Man, this could be South Florida's version of a dog man, guys. That's some pretty insane looking shit right there. But I find these tracks, and I'm like thinking now maybe this is really what it is. So we're looking at this footage here where we got this creature, and I'm not entirely sure that this is like a dog man, as much as I'm questioning whether or not they're just a Florida type of Bigfoot. And the reason I say that is the tracks, right? And we can see this is that subject that we just put footage out in that little review on Patreon, and this is what I've been tracking. This particular track is 17 inches and extremely elongated with a really thin heel, and it's the same type of track as this. But in this track, you can see that, first of all, it was in a pretty soft substrate, but in addition to that, we can see the flexion of the foot here. And it's very clear to me that while this creature seems to be planting its heel, it's also putting quite a bit of weight on the front of its foot. And there are some highly developed pads on this foot. And if we look at where the ridge in this foot actually is, it's a bit more forward and at the ball, as opposed to the traditional mid-tarsal sasquatch ridge that would run across and be more in the center. This one seems to be a little bit further forward. This is what was, finding tracks like this in several different places, and these are just a couple that I was able to pull quickly from the drives that I actually have connected. But going back the years, we probably have 25 or 30 like this. I know this particular individual I tracked over the course of 6 years, so I have 6 years worth of this guy's tracks. This is also an individual that I've had people with me, and we've tracked this guy in the same area. It's always in the same area. He's always traveling from one in between this one. There's two areas, and he travels in between them, back and forth, and it seems to have something to do with the time of the month, which is strange, but it was surrounding their traveling was when it was the most dark. So when the moon was under the earth and there was no moon visible, these tracks would start appearing and transiting between two of our research areas that were about 1,000 to 1,500 yards apart, somewhere in there. And it was interesting to witness that happening over the course of several years. But is it this guy? Is this the actual culprit here? This creature? Is that is that what's leaving the tracks? Because where we're finding tracks, we're trying to correlate it to something, and when you realize that the creature can stand on the ball of its foot, like up on this, with the heel not contacting the ground, where does that place the heel in relation to the ball of the foot? Once it's standing on this ball, and as I can stand on the ball of my foot, this creature can too. But with the elongated 16-inch kind of size of it, it would resemble, as the heel placement comes up and the ball of the foot, it's going to be angled coming down. If we're looking at it from the side, here's the ball of the foot planted. It comes up like this for the length of the foot in here, and it comes up on this angle, and then we've got this ball up here running to the calf muscle. So we're looking at a digitigrade or bounding type of podial structure here. And I think the side view, I think maybe I'll work on a drawing so that it can come out a little better. But the real question is, does that track belong to this individual? That's the question. Is this the individual? And I'm inclined to think that these are the individuals that are leaving these really slender tracks. Some of them are enormous, by the way. This individual is somewhere around 12 feet, with the man being around 6 feet tall up in this area here. So he's 10 to 12 feet tall. Could be crouched for all we know. I just know, when you corroborate by tracking the animal and then you're catching footage like this, at some point, the corroboration, or the entertainment that the tracks have to be being left by some of these individuals has to start occurring. And in looking at what's going on, we're doing relative comparisons for the appearance of the creature with, possibilities of ownership of these tracks. And if this is indeed one of these dog-type creatures that we all know exists, people are reporting it. The veracity of the encounters is, in some of these cases, is really hard to question, particularly the earliest ones that were on television, and where you had eyewitnesses under the duress of polygraph, but in addition to that, they're being filmed for national television during the polygraph, and yet they passed that these wolf-like creatures exist. So what are we talking about? Well, this podial structure right here fully describes the type of locomotion that I've seen, where they're bounding, and it appears that if these creatures were to fall forward on their hands, they would be on the ball of their feet, giving them this bounding ability. And so further corroboration for our theories that these guys are indeed the horsemen of the apocalypse, and that when cataclysm occurs, they will begin to run, and run they do is what the prophecy says, and they'll be running from fire, and anything that's in their way. I don't know. I just look at all this, and it's like, we know we're in untreaded territory here, and so we want to try to confirm this more. But I think this podial structure clearly shows the possibility that these creatures are here in Florida. Thanks, guys, for supporting us here on Patreon. More will be revealed, I assure you.